Hey everybody, how you doing? I am Dr. Jason Bradley, the founder of Epic Functional Medicine Center and the developer and creator of the Epic 5 plan. And today is Wellness Wednesday, March 18th. And I just wanted to, jump in today. We're starting a little bit later today with our recording. I'm glad to have a couple people on with me, and I'm sorry about the miscue with the timing. This whole coronavirus, COVID-19 pandemic and crisis has been, I think, hitting everybody really hard. And we're going to be chatting about that today and looking at some numbers and, again, just chatting about a plan and making sure that, everybody that's able to listen to this has a plan put together for themselves, for their families, and that we're all taking all the preventative measures that we need to be taking during this time of crisis. And also hopefully to offer maybe a ray of hope. I've got a lot. If you see me a little distracted on my screen, I've got so many things popping up right now. So many clients reaching out all at once. I've got other professionals reaching out for help. I've got media reaching out for interviews, and just a lot going on. So I'm sorry if I feel a little distracted up here on my screen. I just have a constant stream of requests right now. So at any rate, listen, I'm just glad to be here with you guys today. First of all, it's been a really, really confusing week, and I just want to chat about that for sure. And actually, I'm just pulling up something here on my screen so I can make sure that I have everything that I want to talk about that we talk about. And I probably should have that pulled up in advance, but here we are. Perfect, guys. All right. So ultimately, you guys have been following me, have heard this already. But this is my official broadcast with this for the Wellness Wednesday with Dr. B. Ultimately, this is a really confusing time for all of us. Literally, I was speaking about this morning on the Fox and CBS morning shows here regionally, and the reality is that nobody on this planet has experienced at all anything that we're talking about right now. We've never had a pandemic like this at all with any adult that's alive right now. In fact, the oldest living person is 117 years old right now. And that person would have been about, roughly 10 years old or so when the Spanish flu hit. And also that person was in Japan, and Japan did not get hit with the Spanish flu that much. So again, we don't really have experience. We don't exactly know what to expect because this is what we call a novel virus. The coronavirus is a regular old cold virus, right? Everybody probably on the planet has had the common cold at least once, sometimes multiple times. I work with immunocompromised and autoimmune clients. And for the most part, I have other clients as well. But for the most part, that's who I work with. And my job with those clients is to, figure out what is stressing their immune system, remove those stressors, bolster their immune system, and protect them from future damage, get their bodies working again. And, my clients have heard this many times, that our number one asset that we have, especially in a crisis, is our health. And ultimately, if we don't have our health, we don't have anything at all. And I mean that truly. And I think that probably this pandemic has put a lot of that into perspective. The reality is, let's look at some numbers. And I ran these numbers, and I have them somewhere here in my notes. So let me scroll down to those. Where the heck are my numbers? Oh yeah, here we are. So I'm just looking at America, and if you guys have been following my Facebook feed, as you guys know, I've been updating, with the death toll, with the infection rate, and then looking at the death rate, the percentage of people that have been confirmed infectious, and then that percent. And the good news is, a couple of weeks ago, it was upwards of nearly 4% in the United States, 3.88% just 2 weeks ago. And slowly but steadily, it's been coming down, even before we started testing more and more people. And we're going to see more and more people testing positive, and I think we're going to see a flattening of that death curve. It doesn't mean people are not going to die. It just means that the percent is going to go down. But let's look at those numbers and talk about that percent. And interestingly, I heard Dr. Fauci, if you guys have been following, the mass media, Fauci is the head of the National Infectious Disease Agency. in the NIH. He's probably one of the most esteemed infectious disease doctors on the planet. And he had mentioned some numbers like, in his estimations, somewhere between 200,000 and 1.7 million Americans will probably die from this virus. And when I heard those numbers, I was, initially like, that's ridiculous. First of all, I do think that's a ridiculous number. However, ridiculous for different reasons. First of all, I thought it was exaggerated in the media. And then I ran the numbers myself, and I'm going to go over those numbers in a minute and give you my actual opinion instead of my emotional response that I had. But my emotional response was, those are idiotic numbers. And I also thought it was insane to say that, because what we know is that the majority of people that will succumb to this disease are those with what we call comorbid risk factors. Those risk factors include things like other chronic diseases, right? Diabetes, obesity and being overweight, heart disease, things like blood pressure, high cholesterol, higher blood sugars again, cardiometabolic disease kind of falls in there as well. Autoimmunity, which is my specialty, and those that have other immune system dysregulations, and then certainly with chronic pulmonary disorders. And when we look at that subset, for the most part, and this is the saddest part to me, diabetes, heart disease, even autoimmunity and other immune system compromised individuals, even things like cancers that should have been on that list as well. I'm sorry I didn't mention that. Certainly obesity and being overweight. These are all modifiable. In fact, the agencies that run those statistics and tell us, the number one cause of death in the United States is heart disease, every year, thinking that it's going to take out 1 million people in 2020 alone. Even the American Heart Association on their website says that 80% of chronic heart disease can be completely prevented and reversed. In their own journal Circulation, they go upward of 90% in their publication. So their website doesn't even match the science that they're putting out. So, but somewhere between 80 and 90% of one modifiable risk factor can be prevented if we have a strategy and a plan. We're going to talk a lot about strategy and plans here, but I will tell you in advance that the reason that COVID-19 is so important in the United States is that we are a sick country. Let's look at the numbers. 327.2 million Americans, right? That's our current population. I always say it's 350 million, but it's a little bit less than that, 327.2 million Americans. They're estimating, and I think this is a good estimate, 33% of our population will become infected. I have heard numbers as high as 67%, but let's just be conservative with this and just say, if it's like most viruses, about a third of our population will become infected. That's about 108 million people that will catch the virus. Of that 108, 60%, and that's a big number. Some say 65%. I'll explain that in a minute, but let's just go with the conservative number again. 60% of our population is at risk with additional factors. Again, like diabetes, heart disease, autoimmunity, cancers, recovering from cancer, immune system complications, being overweight or obese, having chronic pulmonary diseases. So let's just take 60% of that 108 million that's going to catch the disease. That leaves us with approximately 60, did I do my math right? 60% of those that contract the disease. That's about 65 million Americans that will be at risk for this disease. And I know we keep hearing things like, oh, it's just going to be like the common cold. It is for someone with a normal physiology. For those that have those complications, which again is 60 to 65% of our population, or about 65 million Americans, all of a sudden this can become a life and death situation. If we take that 65 million and we say that roughly, and the numbers are actually a little bit less than this, but I'm going to be, again, just kind of erring on the side of what everybody agrees to. We have about a 2% death rate right now for this disease for those that have been tested positive in America. So let's just take 2% of that 65 million. That is 1.3 million Americans potentially that could die from this disease. Now, the thing is, it's easy to discount numbers like 2%, or even earlier today, I posted 1.5, 1.6%, right? It's easy to discount that because it seems like what we're saying is 98% of the population is going to be okay. So, 2%, big deal. But the thing is Those are real humans, right? And again, the saddest part that I want to report on is that with that 2%, with those that are most at risk, 80 to 90%. I could even argue more, but let's just again be conservative and use American Heart Association numbers, right? 80 to 90% of those comorbidity risk factors, those comorbid risk factors, could literally be eliminated. And the problem is, we as a society have been conditioned to, there we go. We as a society have been conditioned to, oh boy, let me admit some other people into our group here, guys. Sorry. Sorry, guys, I didn't see that you were in the waiting room. We as a society have been conditioned to be reactive to our health instead of proactive with our health. Now, I know that those of you that are joining me live, you guys are my private people, and you guys are a special group of people that are very proactive. So I'm actually less concerned about my private patients, my private clients, as I am the general American population. And again, when you break down those numbers, 327.2 million people, 33% or 108 million are going to contract the disease. 60% of those, or 65 million, are at risk, have higher risk of complications and death. 2% of those people are going to die. Again, 1.3 million people. That's right in line with Fauci's numbers. Again, 200,000 to 1.7 million. I'm almost smack dab in the middle, maybe a little bit on the high side. And again, I don't want to be a doomsday guy. I don't want to be predicting, this bad thing. I mean, I'm hoping that we sort this out and figure this out and keep that death toll down as low as possible. But the reality is, Americans are a sick society. We are the sickest country on this planet. I'll say that again, guys. We have more chronic disease in this planet, those risk factors of catching the common cold, like the coronavirus, and dying from the common cold. This particular coronavirus variant, this strain, has a propensity toward taking out the weakest in our population. Again, when I first poo-pooed Dr. Fauci's numbers, 200,000 to 1.7 million, and I'm watching the numbers every day, and where are we right now? I can tell you in America, up to the minute, I have real-time stats running on this, and it's pulling up right now. There we go. Yeah, right now we have had 150 deaths in America out of about 9,000 cases. Let me calculate out what that death toll or that death rate is right now. I should have done this before we started, but it's good. We'll do it in real time. This is like real up to the second. So we're at 1.66% death rate right now. And again, I had overestimated there a little bit at 2%. But again, Fauci is right. I mean, this is something that we need to be concerned about, not because of the virus. It's because we're a sick population. And I wish that there was more rhetoric happening in the common press about this, instead of just saying, wash your hands, wash surfaces, cover your mouth and nose when you cough or sneeze, stay home if you're sick, practice social, I keep saying social isolation, social distancing. It feels like social isolation, though, doesn't it? Go seek care if you need it. I mean, these are all, wear a mask. I mean, these are all really good ways to prevent the spread of this disease, but it does nothing at all to increase the likelihood that someone with a compromised immune system, something with a chronic disease that we mentioned, again, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, cardiometabolic syndrome, being overweight or obese, having an autoimmunity, or any other type of immune system dysregulation, recovering from cancer or having cancer, those pieces of advice do nothing at all to help those people survive. Now, I like that advice. I'm not disagreeing with the CDC. I'm totally agreeing with them. However, let's up the ante a little bit. That is still a reactive response. Oh, now there's a virus, so let's react and do these things, right? And that's literally what has gotten us into this mess in the first place. That is exactly what has gotten us into being the sickest country on the planet. We have the most expensive healthcare, and we have the least effective outcomes and the highest causes of death from chronic disease, as well as the highest outcomes of death from just following our general medicine advice. General medicine is the third leading cause of death in this country, and it doesn't need to be, and that's a topic for another day. The point that I'm making here is that this is the time that we need to step up and actually say our health is the most important asset that we have. We don't have anything if we don't have our health. We're taught to give the shirt off of our backs to total strangers, which I love serving, I love helping, I love giving, and I love philanthropy. But the reality is, if you don't put your oxygen mask on first, you can't help other people, right? And I'll say this again, I love my clients, I love you guys, but it is time to step your family up as well. It is time to find out, as you guys know that are my private clients, when we do a deep dive into your chemistry, we find those risk factors. So a lot of times we find risk factors that people don't even know that they have. I make a joke at parties that when people ask me what I do for a living, my joke answer is that I solve problems that people don't even know that they have, right? And that's because we do such a deep dive into the chemistry that we find modifiable risk factors like those ones that we just mentioned that we can actually take action on if we know about it. But the problem is, in America, we wait until we're way too sick, and then we go for aggressive care that barely works, that's dangerous to begin with. And that is what we're doing with this COVID-19, and it's ridiculous to me. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's infuriating. It's insulting to me as a healthcare provider, as someone that's in the public health sector, as someone that's out there with the public and trying to save the public from chronic disease. It's insulting to me that the CDC can't step up and say, now is the time that we are going to have a plan of attack, and here you go to bolster your immune system. And quite frankly, it just peeves me off. See, look, I'm editing and I'm proud of myself. So again, coming back to, where are we? Here we are. Coming back to things that I want to make sure that we cover. Oh, here it is. Great. I had the wrong thing open. I talked about this morning on the Fox and CBS morning shows. And I want you guys to know that there are 4 things that I want all of us to be doing right now. My private clients already know this, but I want to repeat it, and I'll keep repeating it, and I'll keep repeating it until it becomes the way people are doing things. Number 1, we have to stay calm. Panic doesn't do anything for us. And unfortunately, in the face of a crisis, people tend to do one of 2 things. They're either going to panic or they're going to freeze. Panic causes things like toilet paper shortages and food shortages. We don't need to be freaking out. That's the last thing that we want to do. When I used to work in the entertainment industry, and I was a medical director for a production company in LA, we had a rule that unless somebody was bleeding to death, no one was allowed to run on the set. Now, my job as the medical director was to handle emergency situations. I had an emergency medical team that worked with me. And, I also had to, kind of watch out for the general health of the crew. Crews, some of the movies we worked on were 300 or 400 large. So, I had a lot of people I was caring for every day. And I remember one day we had somebody that had fully, in an emergent situation, dislocated his shoulder. It was a really bad one. It was an anterior dislocation. And I got the call and I ran across the set. And lo and behold, I gave the guy a choice to either go to the ER. We had an ambulance there. He could go. We could set it. Or if he wanted to grin and bear it and bite on a stick, I could set it right there on the set. And he decided to set it on the set. And, I did it, and I had this crazy move that I did, and I put it back in its socket and checked his blood flow, and everything was good. And, hero to the day. Next morning, I got a call from production, and I went in and they said, Dr. Bradley, good job yesterday. Don't ever run on our set again. When you run, people think that there's panic. And if you start panicking, people are going to panic. So I learned a lot that day. There is no reason to panic. The one thing that I know, we need to keep calm. Like I said, the one thing that I know is that we are going to survive this. The overwhelming majority of us are going to survive this. Our economic, crises that we're in as well right now is going to rebound. It always does. Humanity is going to make it out of this. There's no question about it. Now, the question that we do have is there some way that we can protect ourselves and our families, from not succumbing to becoming a statistic? Again, 60 to 65% of Americans are highly at risk here. So panic doesn't help, right? But the reason people are panicking is because they don't have a plan. People inherently know that they haven't taken care of themselves. People know that in America, you guys have heard me quote this before, that we drink to the devil and dance to the doctor, right? Do anything that we want, right? Eat whatever we want, whenever we want, drink whatever we want, smoke whatever we want, right? Sit at computers all day, sit at TVs all day, drink beer, eat pizza, watch sports, and do nothing. Stay up too late, get up get up, groggy and tired and hungover and try to make it into work, be drunk all weekend and, don't practice stress management, have lost our relationship with a higher power or a larger sense of universal self. All of these things have contributed to us just making poor choice after poor choice after poor choice. And our health has declined as a society. Again, we're one of the sickest, we are the sickest country on the planet. We are the sickest industrialized country, whatever that word means, westernized country, whatever that word means, on this entire planet, with the most expensive healthcare, because we drink to the devil and dance to the doctor. I'm not trying to come down on drinking. I have a whole lecture that I do on alcohol and how it might be beneficial for you. I don't drink. Rachel doesn't drink. My family doesn't drink. But at the same time, I'm not trying to come down on that. The problem is that's what we've been trained to do, though, right? Is wait until we're deathly ill, we have a chronic disease or a crazy infection, and then go get care. And then the doctor miraculously is going to cure you. But what are we telling people? There's no cure, right? And people know they're sick. People know they haven't invested in their health. They know overwhelmingly 2/3 of us in this country, maybe more. I would say with my patient population, when they first come in, 85% of my patient population. Very rarely do I run labs. And I'm like, your metabolism looks great. You have no risk factors. You're doing awesome. Very rarely do I get those clients that come in. I love it when they do. Those clients just want to be healthy. That's great. I want to help them too, right? Let's create a plan. But there is no plan for this. So people are panicking. I'm telling you guys, there is a plan, and I've outlined it for my clients, and they know it, and they can probably recite it by heart, but I'm going to cover it again today. The other thing that people do is freeze. They literally just stop everything. Just stop. They even stop doing things that are beneficial to them. They literally just freeze like a deer in headlights. And guys, inaction is not going to help us either. It's genuinely not going to help us at all to do nothing. So it's problematic in that we've been conditioned to believe that we can do whatever we want, get as sick as we want, and then finally go get care, right? And then we're told there is no care. There is no treatment for this, right? And people don't know what to do. No wonder they're panicking and freezing, right? And shame on the CDC for not addressing this. We've asked the CDC many, many times and they did call obesity an epidemic, right? And being overweight an epidemic, but nothing was done about it, right? If we addressed that one epidemic, we would be addressing so many other comorbidities: blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, heart disease, cardiac events, strokes, heart attacks. All of that stuff could be addressed by addressing one risk factor, which is just being overweight and obese. And again, our CDC has slept on this, and now it's coming to bite us in the ass. And that's the fear. The fear is that we've done nothing for so long, and we've been complacent and complicit for so long. And guys, now is the time. I hope it's a wake-up call for everybody. I hope it is. I hope if nothing else comes out of this, that people step away and they say, by God, I am going to protect my health. I'm going to do everything I can for myself, my spouse or my partner, my kids, my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, my family, my friends. I am going to do everything I can to be a beacon of hope and help for these people, because everybody deserves, I agree with the World Health Organization, every single human on this planet deserves health. Health is a right. It is. It is a right. I don't want to confuse health with what we call health care, because guys, you could have the best insurance in the world. You could have free, fill in the blank for all, and it's not going to help during this crisis right now. That's not what insurance is for. Insurance is for if you don't take care of yourself and you get really sick, then hopefully there's something that the doctor can do. But guys, health is something that we, me, you, everybody watching this is something that we have to put time into, effort into, consistency, investment, commitment, resources, energy. The list goes on and on of what we have to put into our health to actually reclaim it and then maintain it. It is not something that happens insidiously. It is not something that happens because you got the new best doctor on your new insurance plan. That's a completely illogical way to think. And unfortunately, Americans have been conditioned to believe that. And believe me, that's been politicized. It's not Americans' fault. I mean, the media yells this at them all day long, every day. And the politicians yell at this all day long, every day, trying to convince us that the answer to your health is out there. And we need to rely on them. And the truth is, we don't. The only person that's going to make you healthy and me healthy and Rachel healthy and my dog that's laying here healthy is that individual himself. Okay, so maybe my dog needs a little help, right? Maybe that was a bad way to go. But I think that you guys get the idea. We are only able to make ourselves healthy. And it has to do with all of those tiny little micro choices that we make each and every day, right? So again, number one, stay calm. The reason people are freaking out is that they don't have a plan. Number two, I want to make sure I do these in order. So let me make sure that I do number two. I already said it. Be prepared and have a plan, right? I already went into number two. If you guys haven't figured out, I'm an old Boy Scout. I'm an old Eagle Scout. We always say, be prepared and expect the best, but prepare for the worst, right? And that's what we need to be doing. And I do like that the CDC has given us, all of those things that we're supposed to do. But again, it's not going to help us, protect our health, reclaim our health, and protect us from this virus. We have to imminently right now, and I mean right now, take it upon ourselves to actually take action and do something. This is the moment to do something, not the moment to freeze. So we got to have a plan, right? So the first part of the plan are things that we can implement today at this exact second. My clients already know this. My patients already know this. It's 5 things. It's called the Epic 5 plan right now, although that sounds like that's going to be renamed. And I'm not sure what that's going to be about. It sounds like it might be renamed to something like the Epic 5 plan to reclaim your immune system or something like that. I don't know. This is all publishing. But here's the 5 things, guys. Hydrate. 85% of Americans are dehydrated, and a dehydrated body is more prone to a host of diseases, disorders, and infections. Hydrate. How much water? Just depends, right? But in one of my interviews today, actually for a station out in Massachusetts, I had 2 interviews today, one early this morning and then one midday. I was talking with, being interviewed by Dr. Brian Polachek for his show. And the reality is 85% of Americans are dehydrated, and the National Academies of Science, Medicine, and Engineering have very clear guidelines for this. For women, roughly about 3 liters a day, right? For men, roughly about 4 liters a day. There's going to be variances to that. And certainly there are reasons to drink more. There's reasons to drink less, but ultimately we're not drinking enough water. And that's what we need to be doing, is drinking more water. And again, my patients know that we start everybody with their very first, action plan is drink more water. And that's what we can do today. It doesn't cost anything. Probably, in fact, it costs you less than what you're drinking right now, right? Because it's not that Americans don't consume liquids. I mean, otherwise Starbucks would be out of business, right? But I mean, we drink all sorts of, sugary coffees and colas and energy drinks and who knows what people, juices, these health juices, which are just ridiculous because juices are just sugar. The reality is we need to drink water. Just drink water. It's that simple, right? It's time to do it. Second thing, let's eat well. We developed the Epic 5 plan diet. It's pretty straightforward. To quote Michael Pollan from Omnivore's Dilemma, it's basically eat real food, mostly vegetables, and not too much, right? Of course, we define that a little bit more. I'd like for you guys to eat green leafy vegetables, cruciferous vegetables, and colored vegetables. Eat some healthy proteins, right? Get healthy fats and oils, nuts and seeds. We do not limit, that's the wrong thing to say. I don't like limits. There are certain nuts and seeds that are healthier than other nuts and seeds. Eat some fermented foods. I got pretty upset. I just went to have lunch and I was going to have some sauerkraut, and the sauerkraut had gone banded by fridge, and it was like 3 days old. So I don't know what happened there, but anyway, must have got a bad batch. Have some berries if you want a sweet. Have some lemon, lime juice, apple cider vinegar to help with digestion. And again, drink water. It's that simple of a diet. Vegetables, proteins, fats, fermented food, berries, acids, and water. Easy peasy, right? What's missing from there? Things that are box, can, wrap, packaged, processed, and otherwise manipulated by man, right? That's the crap that's making us sick. We are literally, and I mean this, literally eating ourselves into an early grave. We are literally choosing to be sick by choosing those foods. Here's what's worse. and I'm going to press a button with some people. We are allowing our children to eat themselves into an early grave because we buy them all that crap to eat. Oh, but they want that cereal. They want those waffles with syrup, you know. They want to eat, you know, the macaroni and cheese, right? The Kraft, you know, or the kinds that are shaped like bunnies or Hawkeyes here in Iowa. You know, you can buy macaroni and cheese shaped like Herky the Hawk. We want we want the fast food, you know. Well, my kids, you know, they really just want that. My kids really just want hot dogs. Well, you know what? Do you want your kids to die early? Seriously. What about your husbands or your wives? Is it okay to let them eat like crap? If you love them, you would put your foot down and say, by God, we're not going to do that. You know, believe me, Rachel and I get critiqued almost daily by our children, not so much our 19-year-old anymore. She's finally turned a corner. It's certainly still our 15-year-old. You know, how come we don't have X, Y, and Z in our house? You know, I go to other places and they get to eat that stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know, I love you and I'm not going to buy that stuff for you. Right? We were doing some spring cleaning the other day and we found, I don't know where it came from, 4 cans of Coca-Cola in our pantry. We have not bought Coca-Cola. I don't even know if I've ever purchased Coca-Cola in my near adult life. I mean, when I was in college, by all means, I did. But I'm talking about, I couldn't even tell you the last time that I did, right? So I don't know where these 4 cans came from. Probably some friends that came over, brought them over, or, you know, our kids are teenagers and they have discretionary money and who knows if they bought it. I don't know why there were 4 cans and not 6 or a pack or whatever. And I don't know how many they started with. But the cool thing was we were going to dump them out, but we actually used those to clean rust off some metal equipment that we have that we need to work on. And WD-40 it, we just poured the Coke on it and it got those gears working well pretty quickly. It actually does work. You can also use it to clean your toilet. Interesting stuff there, right? And yet we allow our children to put that crap into their bodies, right? We allow our husbands and wives and moms and dads to eat ad libitum all of this crappy, ultra processed foods, and then we wonder why they're not healthy. Guys, this is serious stuff, and it's something that we can change right now. Just eat real foods, mostly vegetables, and not too much. That's it. If people just followed those rules, and certainly if they dug in and did the Epic 5 diet, I don't know this, but I truthfully believe from the bottom of my heart that we could turn the epidemic of chronic disease around in America. That's how important that diet is to me. I believe that it is the saving grace for America. And I'm doing everything I can to get it to the population in any form that I can. Guys, you know, so hydration and diet, we need to move. We need to keep ourselves mobile, right? We consult our clients, our patients, to move for at least 30 minutes a day. You know, during this crisis, we know that the coronavirus doesn't like sunlight. Get out in the sun as long as we're allowed to leave our houses, right? Let's go get some sunlight. Let's please do that. Practice social distancing, but go on a walk, right? If the weather is bad, walk around your house, go up and down the stairs. If you don't have stairs, walk from your living room to your kitchen 1.5 million times until you get 30 minutes of walking in. Just do it. It doesn't cost anything except the effort to do it. Put on your headphones. Let's do a podcast. When I'm doing that, sometimes around the house, I will literally put on my headphones and listen to a podcast. I'm really in love with Brendon Bouchard's High Performance Experience podcast right now, and I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend my friend and coach, Alex Sharfin's podcast, the Momentum Podcast. He's a business guy, but he talks about momentum in all areas of life, including marriage, health, certainly money, all that stuff. I love Alex Sharfin. He's like my brother. And I think he's sometimes my psychologist when I have to call him and just get talked down, which happens more frequently than I'd like to admit. You know, let's get some movement in that way, but let's also a few times a week practice our flexibility, right? You can just do this general stretching or log onto YouTube and do some yoga, right? It doesn't have to be spiritually based, or it could be spiritually based yoga, whatever trips your trigger. Let's do some weights, you know, weightlifting a few times a week. People always say, well, I can't afford to go to the gym, and I don't want to go to the gym. And I don't have any equipment at home. I don't have any dumbbells. That's fine. Go to a used sports equipment store if you can and grab something, maybe not right now, but that's a good idea. We always buy our sports equipment used because there's a plethora of it out there at a fraction of the price of the new retail. But if you don't have that, just get a couple of gallon jugs, fill them up with water, and use those to do your curls and your flies and everything else, right? Your bench presses, you can do all of that with gallon jugs, right? It's not heavy weights, but it's heavy for some people. Believe me, if you do it long enough, it's heavy for everybody. You could do push-ups, you could do sit-ups. And again, in addition to that, if your body is able to, I recommend a few times a week doing HIITs, high intensity interval training sessions. And again, there's tons of YouTube videos out there, but it can be as simple as doing jumping jacks for 20 seconds, stopping and breathing for 10 seconds, and then repeating that a total of 8 times for a total of 4 minutes. I mean, it's not a massive commitment every day if you think about the commitment that we have to Netflix and Hulu, right? These are choices, guys. And again, it doesn't cost us anything to do these things. And these are transformational, not only is transformational, these are life-saving interventions that you and your family and every single person that you love and care for should be doing every day. And they don't cost anything, just the time to do it, the effort, and remembering to, right? I have alarms on my phone. The fourth thing that we want to do is manage our stress, guys. When we are stressed, our immune system function lowers. Stress lowers immune system function. We have to de-stress. We have to practice it. The more you practice de-stressing, the easier it becomes. When you first start doing it, it's kind of hard because it's something, again, that we're not taught to do. For those of you that are my private clients and have access to your dashboard at the Epic 5 dashboard on teachable.com, we have a whole module on stress management. I think it might be called stress reduction, but I want to change it to stress management. I decided we can't reduce stress. We can only manage stress. So that all said, practice stress management at a bare minimum, 20 minutes a day. I've been telling our clients, take 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening, and if nothing else, sit in quiet and do some deep breathing. It's that simple, right? I had the fortune recently to meet Shane Saunders, one of the most foremost authorities on breathing. I didn't know you could be a breathing expert. I actually did not know that. But this guy's whole job is to fly around to companies and teach the executives, these Fortune 500 executives, how to breathe. And he and his wife make an entire living off of that. And I was like, man, what a cool job. He gets flown around the world to meet with the 1%ers to teach them how to breathe. And I was like, that is the weirdest job I've ever heard of, any job I've ever heard of. Anyway, he taught me some cool stuff, right? And we're going to be doing some videos on those in that same Epic 5 dashboard on Teachable coming up, hopefully later this month. He shared with me, and I'm actually going to have him here on one of the Wellness Wednesdays coming up soon. He actually just got a hold of me yesterday, I believe. It could have been this morning. He's en route to Australia and had some issues getting back with the planes and everything. But once he gets back and settled, we're going to have an interview with him, and he's going to talk to us about breathing and the importance of breathing, right? If nothing else, sit and breathe for 10 minutes. But what I do is I breathe, practice that breathing, and I do my gratitudes. And what I found for myself in my head is that when I just start giving thanks and praise and being grateful for all of the abundance that we have, sometimes, guys, that abundance is electricity that works and enough gas in the car and a car that starts. Our septic system went out, and I've been really thankful for flushing toilets, right? I get thankful that I have a bed that I can sleep in at night. There are people without beds. I get thankful that I have, a wife that loves me and supports me like Rachel does. And I really should say tolerates me like Rachel does as well. I'm thankful for my clients. I could go on and on. I could spend an hour just telling you what I'm thankful for, but spend your time in gratitude. And I promise you, it's going to be a life-changing thing. When you really commit to gratitudes, it's life-changing. Hi, Sharon. Thanks for joining us. Going forward on that as well. So we have hydration, diet, movement, stress management, that can be done in any number of ways. And then sleep management, right? And my clients know that, we want an evening routine, a very well mapped out evening routine. We want sleep hygiene. What does that sleep environment look like? And we want a very good morning routine to wake us up and get us going in the morning. Mine includes gratitudes. Both my evening and morning routine include gratitudes, right? But if nothing else, we want to be waking up at the same time every day. We want to be trying to go to sleep at the same time every night. We want to turn our screens off, before, at least an hour before we're going to bed, and just unplug. That's been pretty difficult for me because as I'm going to bed in the evening, my daughter is in Japan right now, which is also very stressful. But my daughter's in Japan, and I've been connecting with her because she's waking up in the morning when I'm going to sleep at night. So again, it's not quite that perfect like that, but that's pretty much, the way it is. So, we've been chatting with each other and texting each other a little bit too late in the evening, because that's when we can connect. But, all things being equal, that's what we need to be doing. Taking that a little bit further, again, we've got our 5 action steps. That's a good start, and everybody can start that right now. Ultimately, though, what we need to do is really step back and realize that we need to know our risk factors. Guys, just because we don't know something doesn't make it not dangerous, right? Again, it's estimated, it's not even estimated, it's known that at least 60% is the CDC number. 60% of Americans have comorbidities or risk factors that make them susceptible to this coronavirus, this novel virus 19, right? COVID-19. And again, just to kind of cover what we talked about, that puts, the potential death toll in that number that Fauci was talking about, 200,000 to 1.7. I calculated out up to 1.3 million, right? So we're all saying the same numbers. It's not that it's only, sorry guys, welcome Angela, good to see you. It's not so much that it's not that people are, only a few people are going to die because it's a small percentage. With 327 million people in our population, 1.5, 1.6, 1.8% is still a large segment of the population when we really break it down. So again, we have to know those risk factors. We have to know those risk factors, and that's all that there is to it. And the reality is, those risk factors, again, are highly modifiable. In fact, the majority of those risk factors, overwhelmingly, conservatively 80%, up to 90%, I've heard numbers higher than that, but I'm trying to be conservative with my numbers now, literally say 80 to 90% of those risk factors can be not only prevented, but can be reversed, right? But if you don't know that you have them, you're not going to know what to do. And also, if you have them and you're relying on medical treatment, I've got diabetes and I'm going to take my diabetes medicine, again, you're not modifying your risk factor, right? You're still at risk. It doesn't matter if you're being treated medically or not. This is the time right now to take this seriously. For my clients, I posted numerous times about this. In fact, I just posted about it right before I got on this video, which is one of the reasons, or this recording for the podcast. This is one of the reasons I've been posting, because I don't want my clients to succumb to be a statistic. This is the time for them to update their labs. This is the time for them to say, I'm due for labs. I'm going to do it right now, right? But I can't stop there. I can't, because I care about my clients so dearly, like their family. I mean, I carry them right here with me all the time. Rachel will tell you, I think you guys have heard me talk about it at different times. I get these testimonials that come in that are just, life-changing. I remember, I call you guys my friends, but one of our clients was telling me what her husband said. She had reduced her symptoms by 80 or 90%. Her labs look good. She felt like herself again. And she said that when she knew that she had really turned the corner was when she overheard her husband doing his evening prayers, and he was thanking God for giving his wife back to him. And again, that actually brought tears to my eyes when I heard that, and that's when I'm just thankful that we've been blessed with the knowledge and the wisdom that we have to share with you guys. But when I hear that story and when I think about what's going on right now, it's not good enough for us to serve our clients. It's not. It's what we got to do, and it's what we're doing, and we're not going to stop. But it's not good enough. And so Rachel and I called LabCorp, and we basically set up a whole COVID-19 screening blood assessment, so anybody can assess their blood. I mean, there's an investment for sure. It's not very much though. It's about $9,500 worth of testing, and we were able to negotiate that down to just under $1,400. I think it's $1,397. I am donating my time. Rachel is donating her time, so that when these labs come in, for your spouse, for your kids, for your mom, for your dad, your brothers, your sisters, your family, your close friends, whoever you want to make sure to take advantage of this, I am going to personally write up a risk assessment. I'm going to personally create a plan that they can take action on right away. I will write that up and I will shoot a video. Right now, I've only been able to offer up to do 30 of those. I don't know how much time that's going to take. That sounds to me like about a week's, maybe even a little bit over a week's worth of donated time. And I have so much else going on. I wish I could just do that 24/7. I wish I was a robot and could just do it, but I can't. But we are making that available, and we have made that available to our OWL community, our clients, our private clients, and we've also made that available to those of us following on Epic, on the Epic site, and in our sister site, the Epic 5-plan community. So again, I only have 30 of those that I can offer. I'm going to be posting, actually the link is already posted in the OWL group. All that you guys have to do is click on it, take advantage of it, and Rachel will take over. She's donating her time. Steph's donating her time. I'm donating my time. We're all, anybody that's involved with this process is just going to help you guys get assessed, and more. My clients have probably already been assessed, unless you're due for labs right now and get them done, right? That's just timing. It's your spouses, it's your husbands, it's your wives, it's your kids, it's your parents, it's your family members. Guys, I don't want anybody close to you guys to be a statistic either. So again, if you guys cover the hard costs of the labs, we're donating our time to get you guys the plan and information that you need. And again, I don't want to beat that dead horse, but that is part of planning. Again, coming back to what we're talking about, we had our 3 things we talked about. Keep calm. We're going to be calm because we have a plan, right? We're going to be prepared, again, because we have a plan. We're going to practice what the CDC has suggested. I'm not going to go through that stuff again. And then we're going to follow the Epic 5: hydrate, eat well, move, stress manage, and sleep manage, right? And then we're going to take that plan a little bit further for ourselves and for our loved ones to get a risk assessment done and figure out what needs to be intervened on, and then modify everything that we can to lower the risk so that nobody becomes a statistic. I wanted to call this pandemic proof your body, but I'm not sure that we can do that. But nonetheless, I think that you guys get the idea. The last thing is, guys, we also need to carry on as best as we can. We need to carry on, guys. Life is going to go on. We can't freeze. We can't freak out. We need to try to have business as usual, even though business as usual right now is virtual. For me, I practice online, and that's what I do. I'm on social media. I'm being interviewed. I'm doing webinars. I'm doing podcasts. I mean, this is what I do all day long. And I meet with my clients over video from all over the US and all over the UK, right? So this is what I do all day long. But for a lot of people, that's a massive shift. And, we're going to have to make that shift. It's probably going to change the way business is done permanently. And that will have some social ramifications. But guys, we're going to have to carry on with business as usual as much as we can. We've got to keep our spirits flowing. We've got to keep the economy flowing, and we've got to keep our health flowing. We can't freeze. It's very important that we don't freeze. So listen, guys, this is, in my opinion, one of the most important Wellness Wednesdays that we've had ever. And we've had some good ones. I want you guys to take this very seriously. I don't want anybody that's watching this to become a statistic. I want you guys to take action, and I want you guys to know that it's very important. Now, on that note, some other things, just some housekeeping. Rachel and I are going to be doing 2 hours of live Q&A and coaching every day for free in a group for everybody in the OWL group, starting tomorrow, Thursday at noon. So tomorrow, Thursday at noon, Rachel and I will be live, and every Thursday going forward, by the way, until this coronavirus crisis is over. We are going to be live in the OWL community, and we are going to be doing live Q&A, live coaching, and giving consults as much as we can to anybody that wants to join us. That is, noon Central. And then at 1 o'clock, we're going to go to our sister site, the Epic 5-plan community, and we're going to be doing live Q&A on lifestyle over there. So, lifestyle coaching, again, from 1 p.m. Central Time until this crisis is over again. We are going to donate that time to you guys because we want you guys to have an informed authority to go to and get real answers, and not have to Google things, and not have to, listen to the media where, one channel says that, we're all going to die tomorrow. The other channel says it's a hoax, right? I mean, and obviously neither one is true. Um, it's down the middle, guys. And I think I unfortunately think that Fauci was pretty close on. I'm hoping that he's wrong. I'm hoping that my stats are wrong. I'm just going with the stats that we have available to us now. I will be updating those live every single day, multiple times a day, as much as I can, at least every morning and at least every evening. So, guys, listen, I want to thank you guys for joining me today. One of the most important Wellness Wednesdays that we've ever had. We ran a little bit late tonight. I love all of you guys from the bottom of my heart. I know that we're going to make it through this. I want you guys to take me seriously. It is time to get your family tested. It is time to get your family tested. I'll say it one more time. It's time to get your family tested. We have to do a risk assessment, and it's time to prioritize health, and it's time to take action. This is not a time to wait until tomorrow or next week or in a month. I don't know what it's going to be. I mean, it's different than it was a week ago. So as we all feel. So guys, now, today, right this very second is the time to take action. We are here to support you and love you through this. We are going to be here for you. And if you guys need anything, of course, I'm readily available on social media. If you're my client, you can message me through the private portal. You guys will always have priority to my time. I love you guys. And listen, I believe in humanity. We are going to rise above. I think we're going to rise above this and come together despite differences in race, religion, sex, orientation, politics. I think this is a time for us to see humans as one, as just one great human race. And I think that we're going to get there. I love you guys, and I will chat with you all very soon. Bye-bye.